let's make our masala. And in our masala for the curry is basically going to be, I'm just going to go around the wheel here. Let's start with a little bit of the cayenne. Let's go to curry powder, and I think we're going to need a lot more curry powder than anything because of the flavor. But just a little bit of cinnamon, and then into chili powder, and of course a little bit of ground ginger, and we'll back that up with some fresh ginger as well. Actually, I think I want a little bit more curry powder. So now, wet masala. So let's start with our ginger. Using the leverage from the board, I'm just gonna kind of press and rotate. And any knife will do. You don't need a really fancy knife for this. You just need something with a nice kind of spine to it. So I've scraped down the ginger edges, and now I'm just going to run the knife along the ginger. So that's perfect. I've just scraped it off. Now, mincing. I don't want you to overthink this. Just kind of square it off on one side so it sits up straight. Cut small tiles into it, nice straight tiles. Now you'll take the tiles, lay them on top of each other, and slice those again into little kind of shreds. And this is kind of that blades of grass cut that a lot of the Chinese recipes use a lot. I'm going to bunch them all together now and just kind of mince them. Excellent. See how easy that is? One ingredient down. Garlic. Just bring it to the board, smash it really flat with the base of the knife, let it go, and I'm just going to continue to smash and push aside. Excellent. Now, same thing with the ginger. We just want to gather it up really tight and slice it into nice thin pieces and not worrying about uniformity here. I'm going to grab my onion now. So to navigate the onion, we're just going to take the front side off, turn it over and take that root side off, just barely, just skin it enough so it sits up straight. Now half the onion, and we'll peel from the half like we always do. So I'm going to show you a great technique for mincing onions. Now, the secret here is keep your fingers off the board, meaning your hand of your knife way off the board so you can get a nice flat knife. We'll take our left hand or your weak hand, put it on top of the onion. I'm going to do one swipe about a 1/4 inch from the bottom and leave it connected on the end there, just like that. Now I'm going to continue to do that every 1/4 inch, but leaving it connected so the onion stays together when I go to actually mince it. When you get to the top where you can't go any further, you're going to actually push in parallel to the onion lines now. So good firm grip in, still leaving it connected by that end, and just brought together. When you get to the point where your fingers don't know where to go ahead and clasp that whole onion together, and you're prepped. You're prepped for the final, which is just a slice. I'm going to go ahead and slice this, and in 3 movements, you've got a really cleanly minced onion. So let's push all that aside. So wet masala done, dry masala done. I think it's time to fire. And I want you to think about Indian food, kind of like Chinese food. We're using a very low flavored oil, really high temperature. I really want to bring this up. I don't want the oil to really interrupt any of these great flavors we have going on. So in here I've got grapeseed. And with grapeseed you've got a unsaturated fat. So we're not using any butter for this. We're not using any fat that can kind of clog those arteries up because we don't want that. Just enough oil to kind of coat the bottom, no more. You can always add oil, but don't start with too much where you're having to fish it out later. So I'm gonna let that go to come up to temp, and I'm gonna bring my bench scraper in to bring all these together and right into the pan. Just in there. Now, we're listening. We're listening for that sizzle because that tells us the pan is hot enough. Now use the surface area of this pot because we want to get a lot of cooking done in a short time. You're really a lot more efficient when you're using the whole surface. So if we're hearing the sear, we're in a good place. We don't want this too hot to brown the onions. We kind of want to bring them up to a light golden really slowly. All right, we've done wet masala. The onions are really light brown. They're translucent. All the aromatics in here are smelling good. Here's the important part. We need to get the dry masala in here correctly. And all that means is we're gonna be blooming our spices. So let's kind of push all this aside a little bit, get a little more oil in, and always use a heart-healthy oil. We're talking about a non-saturated fat oil. Just enough to kind of pick up the bottom there. I can turn it up just a little bit. This is about the right temperature we want. So I'm gonna dump that in and really get those in there and really cook these spices. So that's in. Let's bring it all together. Oh wow, that's really looking nice. And now I'm thinking ahead. I need to get my protein in here, and today it's gonna be chicken, and I'm also gonna put those tomatoes in a little tomato paste. So let's let that keep cooking to continue blooming, and I'm going in to get our chicken. I am using chicken thighs this time because if you're using chicken breast, that tends to dry out. Chicken thighs will never dry out. All the spices are together, the chicken's in. Now let's sort of add our wet ingredients. Now with the tomatoes, we're going for something that's local and organic and heirloom if possible. And we've also got tomato paste. Tomato paste is kind of that concentrated tomato. And you're not losing any vitamins, you're actually increasing your vitamins because cooked tomatoes, which is tomato paste, and condensed tomatoes is gonna give you more vitamins than just raw tomatoes. So we're getting kind of that double punch of healthy stuff going into this. I'm gonna just stir that in. And remember, kare or curry is a sauce, right? We need to make a sauce of this. For Thai curries, we'll probably use some coconut milk. We're just gonna reach for water here to kind of get some moisture in there. Just enough water to cover. That's all I'm looking for, right about there. Perfect. And go ahead and kind of get all that extra flavor that's on your spoon off. Get it sliding in. So, little tap, let's get the last little bit. Perfect. This is gonna come up to a boil. It's gonna reduce to a simmer, so let's bring that up. Flavor's there. I can tell that the texture on the chicken's right. A little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. All those spices are really doing their thing now. Little fresh pepper. So let me stir that in. So first plating, I'm just gonna take a little ladle and make sure you get a little of everything because people are gonna wanna take that sauce and put it all over that rice.